So I've given you guys top 5s before, but this time we're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to start with the number 5 best weapon in Warzone 2. And we're going to start out with the RPK. Now the RPK is actually going to surprise you guys because a lot of people would put this in their number 1. But let me tell you guys, number 1 is the best damage and best TTK overall. So we're starting with the RPK and we have the Polar Fire S for the muzzle. Some people aren't a fan of a silencer, but for me, I think that you want to be a little stealthy on the battlefield. And to top it off, it helps with the sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. Now, the downside is that the aim down sight speed and aiming stability is going to be a little bit down, but I honestly think it's worth it for the trade-off. I increased the bullet velocity by 0.32 inches and increased the recoil smoothness by 0.32 ounces. Now, this actually helps a whole bunch, but you guys are going to see in the firing range just how lethal this is. You need all these attachments and they're very important. Trust me, you want to have the tuning as well. Now, you put on the Taq-v 97 barrel, increase the damage by 0.26 because at that point, it no longer benefits you. It doesn't help past 0.26. Increase the recoil steadiness by 0.27. Around these ranges, you don't want to move it any further. This helps with the damage range, hip fire accuracy, movement speed, and bullet velocity at the cost of hip recoil control, which honestly, who cares? Aim down sight speed and recoil control. You're not even going to notice that though. Aim Op V4. This is a gem, and we're going to max out the FAR, and it helps with the precision sight picture. Now, you guys are going to see how amazing this is. It's going to feel like no recoil, but to help with the recoil, we put on the Demo X2 grip. It's helped with the recoil control, and we increased the recoil steadiness by 0.74 ounces. Last but not least, we maxed out the high velocity and maxed out bullet velocity and increased the damage rate by 0.43 Gs. And just show you guys how amazing this is in the firing range. Check this out, 0 recoil, but this thing's absolutely melts. And it literally has no recoil. This is something that you guys are really going to want to use for long range. I think it is deserving of the top 5, but is not the best. Moving on to the number 4 weapon, we're going with the Minibak. Now, this weapon is amazing and can take out multiple enemies at once. Now, the downside to this is it's not the strongest, but it does get the job done. With 64 bullets, you don't have to worry about reloading, which your enemies will have to do. But the muzzle you're going to put on is the X10 RR40, max out the bullet velocity, and increase the recoil smoothness by 0.45 ounces. At that point, I don't think it's any more of a benefit just because it already has low recoil, but this helps with the sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. We'll take care of everything later on, but we'll put on the Bach 9 279mm barrel, max out the damage range, and aim walking speed. Some of you guys are going to be scratching your heads like, wait, why not the recoil steadiness? Like I said, this already has great recoil control, so you want to have great mobility as well. It maxes out the damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity at cost of aim down sight speed and hip recoil control, which doesn't even matter. I'm going to put on the Marquise R7 stock, max out the aiming idle stability and the aim down sight speed. So this will help with those increases. Plus, these pros are crouch movement speed, sprint speed, and aim down sight speed. So the negative, aim down sight speed previously is taken care of at the cost of some recoil control, which is already basically 0 recoil. Now, I put on a true tack grip. This helps to sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. So we increase the recoil steadiness by 0.52 ounces. And here is the results of this weapon. Now, I'm letting you guys know right now, this is actually really good for short to medium range. Long range is where it does get a little bit dicey with the recoil, but if you get your shots on point, you'll be in good shape. As you guys see, you can probably shoot at least 6 enemies before you run out of bullets. So if you're lucky, 7. Number 3 is such an amazing weapon. It is the Taq-56. And I'm going to give you guys the iron sight version just because a lot of people are going to want to be using this version. So we're going to start out with the Harbinger D20. Now, some of you guys may not like this build, but I think it is the best build overall just for low recoil and an insanely good damage range. So you increase the bullet velocity at 0.81 inches and increase the recoil smoothness by 0.54 ounces. This helps sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and aim walking speed. Move on to the 17.5 Tundra Pro barrel and you max out the damage range. Now you also help with the recoil steadiness, increasing it by 0.35 pounds. After that, I don't really see much benefit. Plus you have to make sure you don't max out everything you do because sometimes it doesn't have the benefit. Now you increase the damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, not a big deal. You move on to the 5.56 high velocity, max out the bullet velocity, and increase the damage range by 0.61 Gs. Put on the 60 round mag or 40, whichever one you want to do. If you use the 40, you'll have more movement, aim down, reload quickness, and sprint to fire, but it's completely up to you whether you want to have more bullets or more mobility. Last but not least, you put on the FSS combat grip. This helps with the recoil control. You increase the aiming idle stability by 0.35 inches and the recoil steadiness by 0.55 ounces. And then at that point, it doesn't benefit any further. Just show you guys how amazing the number 3 weapon, the Taq-56 is. Check this out. This thing has such little recoil and such amazing damage, and it's not even the number 1 weapon. Number 2, we're moving on to the number 1 SMG, which is the Fennec 45. Now, this is something that you absolutely need to have if you're going to be taking on close range gunfights. You want to have the ZLR 16.5 ignition barrel. I know a lot of people are still having smoke issues. Now, when you're shooting your gun, you shouldn't have that much smoke. And this barrel right here will make sure you have 0. Make sure you don't put on any sort of silencer because you don't need it. Tune this to 0.25 inches in damage range and max out the recoil steadiness. Helps with the damage range, bullet velocity, hip fire accuracy, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. Trust me, we're going to take care of everything, but this is the best mod you can have for this SMG. Put on the VLK Laser 7MW. This helps with the aim down sight speed, aiming stability, sprint to fire speed at the cost of laser being visible in ADS. So that's one downside. If you don't want your laser to be visible in ADS and you don't really care about the benefits, just put on the 1MW quick fire laser and you'll have the aim down sight speed increase. Now, put on the Agile Assault 7. Some people would suggest FTAC stock cap, but I think that the recoil increase from that is just not worth it. This still gives you amazing benefits, and you can actually tune it to your liking still. So this helps sprint speed, aim walking speed, crouch movement speed, and aim down sight speed. I maxed out the aiming idle stability, and the aim down sight speed is increased by negative 2.06 ounces. It takes away from the aiming stability and recoil control. We put on the Fennec rubber grip. This helps sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed and increase recoil steadiness by 0.42 ounces. Put on the Fennec 45 mag. I mean, you can't really tune it, but just show you guys, this thing has no recoil. Despite all the recoil tunings, this thing is absolutely insane. And this is something you absolutely need if you're going to be fighting close range. Long range would be something you have to burst fire, unfortunately. But like I said, the close range is something you absolutely want to use. So insane. And like I said before, with the smoke issue, you don't get the smoke issue. But the number 1 gun in this top 5 is going to be the Taq-v. And this thing is so incredible, such an insane powerhouse that you're going to be using to destroy the enemies at any distance. We're going to start out with Custovia DX90, and we increased the bullet velocity by 0.84 inches. We also increased the recoil smoothness by 0.90 ounces, and this helps with the sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil smoothness, and recoil control. The downside being the aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, and aiming stability, but that's not a big deal. Put on the 18-inch Precision 6 barrel. Max out the damage range and increase the recoil steadiness by 0.39 pounds. This helps with damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity, so you'll get some more recoil control as well at the cost of aim down sight speed and hip recoil control, which we don't honestly care about. We got the secret gem once again, the Aim Op V4. Max out the far position, and then 50 round drum. This is also a secret if you guys don't realize how good the FTAC Ripper 56 is. It's fantastic. Increase the aiming idle stability at 0.23 inches. At that point, it's no longer beneficial. You want to make sure you have that on there. And the recoil stabilization, max that thing out. So the aiming idle stability would be great. Hip fire accuracy would be good, which who cares, but recoil stabilization would be great. Aim down sight speed is going to go down along with walking speed, but just show you guys the final product of this amazing gun. It takes little to no effort to actually destroy the enemies, and it's just insane to use. So if you guys want an amazing gun with such little recoil and amazingly high TTK, this is the gun you want to use. And if you guys enjoyed this top 5 video, let me know in the comment section down below which weapon you're going to be using from now on.